Right.
And I see already there's a few questions, and it's, steak or bison. Great thing is you can have both. Um,
Yeah.
uh, Lift slow on the negative, 100%, but
Yeah.
also learn to lift fast.
Yeah.
Uh,
Explosive.
yeah, explosive, move through it. And I'll go as extreme if you're healthy, if you're in that range of still wanting to be athletic and stuff. There's aspects of catching bars and pushing through it. It's like
Hmm.
the old school training. It's some great Russian techniques on explosion. Um, and again, judo is an explosion thing, and the techniques that they use for that is the level of speed. But when you're in the gym and you're catching weights, or you're dropping and catching weights,
Hmm.
and all these things are great too. So the slow is
Yeah.
great, mind and muscle, but
Hmm.
also athletically do all of it.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
I think explosion. I think it's important too, and you learn how to shift your momentum too, or be
turn
able
it
to
on,
shift the
turn it
weight
off.
too as well. So it's there's a lot of benefits to that.
Yeah, I think I guess John is my point is all methods are really have their place,
Sure.
and and more than anything, they have their place in your timeline of life.
Hmm.
So just keep that in mind as well. I know that it seems like it becomes a training principle becomes a religion, kind of like religion. It's like this is the way, and like nutrition, it becomes like again a cult mentality or religious mentality. This, what do they call it? It's this is the only way to diet. This is the best way. No other way. It's like, well, this you you got a long life. There's a lot of different factors to these things.
Right.
Be smart about it. Use it for when you can use it. Like for you, I'm assuming you're cautious on shoulders,
So cautious. Super cautious.
but
Chest, shoulders.
you could blast legs.
Yeah, legs are fine. I mean, and I've been hit by a car and the whole nine of legs, so legs are fine. It's
But
just
that's different
shoulders.
than when you're 20. Yes,
Oh, big difference. Huge difference. I mean, I was more, obviously, it was a lot easier and carefree when I was doing that. But yeah, I mean, no problems back then compared to what I have now, for sure. So it's more of a cautious thing. Like I'm going in and being like, all right, listen, I know what I can do. I know what I can't do. Right. And what might hurt me. I'm like, all right, is it worth the risk? Is the reward there? And at that point, like I've got to a point where I think I've curtailed a pretty good workout regimen and without having negative side effects of pain and more injury to come. That's obviously using some of the great therapies we have, like BPC 157 and TB 500. And it's helped me tremendously, stay out of the operating room with a total shoulder replacement. So, I gotta put some love there and give some credit there. But, I think the movements and stuff like that, you'll find because people's bodies are structured a little bit different too, as well, sometimes, especially if you have injuries and stuff like that, you might have to adapt to whatever the exercise is too, as
please.
well. So,
Yeah. Um, Today, just a side note for everybody that's watching. Um, I did. We went to 5 sets of 20 on exercises. So like 5 sets of 20 on inclines, bench, and then cable crossovers and so on and so forth. Now again,
five
five
sets
sets of
of 20.
20, yeah, 100 reps. You had to do
Shit,
100
that's
reps
a
before you're done with the exercise.
lot.
So so
Okay.
235, you know. So 5 sets of 20 at 235 on incline, and it felt great. But imagine the speed is what it is, but it's in control. But again, I can still go back to that. And so just FYI for everybody out there, it's like you'll know what you need to be cautious about. And then there's times to have fun and do other things. But just because our protocol normally is a very low range
Mm-hmm.
does not mean I don't at times implement crazy numbers. And it's basically just
That's
make sure the body is aware that we could still have to go to this level. You got to bounce it
right.
around.
Right.
You're not just
Keep it
one
guessing.
dimension. Yeah, you get into a rut, and you think that this is my leg workout, same thing all year long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You're gonna find us. Yeah, got to do it. Look at Jeffrey on it.
It says, Mike, I've been training for 2 years and gotten great results. However, I feel like I plateaued in some lifts. How can I break these plateaus? Should I follow a program and change my routine? I think you kind of answered his question there. If you plateaued, first off, I mean, how old are you, first off? This is something that might have plateaued because you have something going on internally. Maybe some hormones are off or something like that. I mean, as far as that goes, how do you break plateaus? I mean, Mike just hit on it pretty good. How you're changing your routine, change some different exercise. So definitely some change in routine up if you're doing the exact same thing. But, this is something like, depending on how old you are or whatever's going on. I mean, there's different things that we can offer to help you break those plateaus, whether it's trying to put on more lean mass or lose weight or, just perform better all the way around. So that's something we can dive into and we can really talk about with some blood work.
I lost screen here.
Really?
2 seconds.
You're good on my side, though.
All right. To answer that question from my side, everybody hits plateaus. We hit plateaus all the time. And that's weightlifting, which is great because it's kind of a signal from your body just saying, hey, dude, this is it. You use this principles or these nutrition or this aspect long enough. I've adapted to it. Let's either change it and shock me or we're just going to hold here and then start to go backwards. And so it's a great learning lesson that your body will always adapt to what you're doing. And I guess that's kind of a interesting question that Jeffrey brought up because of the fact that like today we went to those 20s. And again, just to shock the body, give it a little something. It had no idea. And so again, it kind of stimulates the muscle in a way. And that's all you got to do. And what's great here is, I don't know how old you are, but beginners, you guys will get the most amazing transformations out of anybody. When you first start, right, Johnny? When they first start,
that's the best.
It's an amazing thing. And then just learn the body and try to keep that speed going the best you can.
Mm-hmm.
There's a transformation.
There's a transformation.
Oh, wow.
See, look at that.
Damn. That's great. Dude, you got some really good results.
So this is another a great cat in the Titan crew and got him over with Titan Medical. But here's something that's very, it goes back to the point of saying that, what's that?
I want to see my transformation.
Yeah, we'll put yours up there. We'll see. Is that I can only do so much, and technically you can only do so much if the machine is not working. And that's why I keep saying, make sure the machine's working, and that's where Johnny comes into play.
Yeah.
That's where his company comes into play. And again, I understand it's a burden. I understand that it might be financial, but that's why I love Titan Medical, because they don't try to shortcut you and they don't try to upsell like a lot of these companies. And so again, good over there. And let's talk blood work for a second, Johnny, if you can, because they don't comprehend. If you're here in the United States, doesn't matter where you are in the United States, but you can work with Titan Medical.
That's correct. Really simple and easy, guys. Really simple. I've been doing this for 13 years. I made a video on it. A lot of people don't even know we're nationwide still. It's on every one of my videos, every one of our advertisements, or every time I ever get on, a podcast or whatever it may be. But we are nationwide. And what does that mean? That means that we service you with all of our services, except for like PRP or IVs. We're servicing everything that we do, from hormone replacement therapy, peptides, medical weight loss, vitamin amino acid injectables, rejuvenation detox, libido enhancers, and a lot more. So blood work, super simple. You call us or text us. We get some information from you. We'll collect a payment, and we send you a prepaid lab requisition slip to your email with the nearest locations of a lab to you. You just take that slip in with your license or state identification. No more money is needed. No insurance cards needed. You give them the slip in your ID, they draw your blood. We get it in 3 to 4 business days, expedited. We call you, we go over a brief viewing of the blood work, and if you want more help from there, we can set up a medical consultation with one of our providers, and they'd be happy to go into that blood work more in depth and go over your health history, family health history, and recommend a program that's personalized to whatever your goals or whatever you're trying to achieve. Very simple, very easy, very effective, very efficient.
For anybody that's on here also, and you think that it's a age thing, it's not an age thing. It is an individual thing.
It really is.
I got some great texts this week of some people that have gone over, did their blood work at Titan Medical, and then did their protocols or their calls with their provider.
The provider.
And they gave them the updates. And then these people are going, today's day 1. I'm pumped. And so in the text, I could feel the excitement about them going to the gym, I'm going to the gym. But for the first time in a long time, I know the body's working with me.
Yeah.
And the results will mimic that of how the body is functioning.
So true, too.
Because I think, I know for a fact that you kind of started this because you wanted to help people, because you saw this frustration of people trying their best and their body's not changing, and them thinking, am I not training hard enough? Am I not eating right? And am I doing all these things? And they're doing that right. But again, the body isn't working with them.
Yeah. It's when I seen the epiphany, it was epiphany, literally epiphany. And I was like, oh, nobody knows about this. Nobody. And when people find out, they're going to want this and they're going to need this. So that was a moment I was like, listen, I'm going to help a ton of people that have no idea that they even have a problem going on. And at that point, introducing Titan and then introducing the blood work and educating people more about this. And then through the years, more education getting out there with people, being able to read about it and more studies done and all that. It's been awesome, right? It's been awesome for people. It's been awesome for us. But, the main goal is to help people. And, without blood work and without me saying, hey, listen, what's the difference between an athlete and a regular person? And let's run a whole bunch of blood tests. We would really never know. I would have known. I'd have just been like everybody else. Post-menopausal women, right? They're going to get dry. They do this, they go that. You don't really, back then, we weren't really talking about guys going through hypergonadism or having low T as much, because it was never tested. It was just never tested. Just kind of crazy how things worked out like that.
With that being said, I know that this is going to be one that you can help. This is great.
Yeah. So Titan is based in Florida.
You go back to that one after. Go for it.
Sure. It says Titan is based in Florida. I'm in Ohio. Even with the distance, Titan is way more accommodating than my local physician. Lines of communication are pristine. So it's really nice. Thank you, Mary. That is a super, super big compliment for me and for the staff here. That's what we thrive on. We thrive on, doing good for our patient, taking care of our patient. Like even today, there was a guy and basically he was having some issues and stuff like that. And, he was talking with the girls. She asked me a question about it. And I'm like, listen, let me get on the phone with him. And I got on the phone and I started talking, this is John. He's like, wait, you're John from the videos? I'm like, yeah, I'm John. I'm the owner. So then we started talking about his issue and problem, and then we got it resolved really easy and really simple. But, it's something that we do thrive on. So thank you so much, Mary. That means a lot to us. Due to nerve injury in my arm, I can only lift light. How often should I lift light to build bicep? Thanks, guys. So nerve injury. In your arm. Well, at that point, BPC and TB could possibly help a little bit, right? As far as that goes, it may be helping recover that arm. And then at that point, I would try some Hercules potion to really connect the mind to muscle and then be able to lift that and then just start building up with the bicep. And to lift to build the bicep, honestly, you can give a couple days rest and lift 2 times a week on the biceps and try to pump them up, get them even bigger. usually lacking body parts. That's what I've always done. So, for me, it might be chest or whatever it is. And at that point, I might hit another set or two on a second day later on that week. I start on Monday. If it's a Friday or Saturday, possibly, and I got to go to the beach or the pool, or I'm going out, obviously I want to look good. I'll pump up a little bit and do some exercises there. So
You always look
right.
good.
Looking right, looking tight, baby.
I got to look good for Saturday. I'm starting on Wednesday. That's John for you. Hey, lightweight. Sometimes that happens with you got to do the lightweights because of situations, and
of course,
again, I wish more people would understand that.
Yeah.
We'd like life to be perfect, but situations like this happen for people.
Yeah.
And just like Johnny said, I call it a delayed growth. And so what you're doing is for a good, strong month, you hit those bad boys twice a week and go ballistic. Just go off on them. And then the following week, pull all the way back to where it's once a week and it's moderate training. And it's a nice delayed growth. You shocked it, let it recover later. And just keep staying on point with the nutrition. But I don't know how old you are. If there's anybody out there with nerve damage, try to get that taken care of younger than you are older.
Yeah,
just
definitely.
Whatever's pinching that or what's going on. Try to fix that.
I got nerve damage in my groin because my first hernia, I had biangular hernia, and I've got mesh on both sides. And the mesh actually got caught entangled with the nerves and grew into it. It's super crazy. It was like that's all these lawsuits were going on for this mesh, but I have that, so it definitely sucks. But yeah,
for some reason that just made my balls shrink up a little bit.
That's exactly what it does. It hurts. Zach Jones, hey guys, just turned 42 today. Happy birthday! Testosterone at 280. Womp, womp, womp. Urologist started me at a test prior 0.75 a week of a 200 milligram bottle and 50 milligram tab of Clobid. Is that decently safe? So, yeah, I mean, it's decently safe. The only other thing that I would look at with this is, and that honestly, that's really good. I haven't really heard of too many urologists prescribing testosterone with the gonadal support of Clomid. But the only other thing that I would look at is the estrogen levels. At 0.75 a week of 200 milligram bottle, I mean, you're talking about 160 to 180 milligrams of testosterone, depending on how far you pull. And at that point, you might get some conversion into some estrogen. You might not. That's the thing about this. And I was discussing with the gentleman earlier that everybody's different. Some people convert a lot more in estrogen or more estrogen sensitive than others. So it really depends on that. So my recommendation would be, or not my recommendation, what I would think to do is just monitor your estradiol. So if he hasn't ran the estradiol test on you, have him run it. If he doesn't want to run it on you, come to Type Medical Center, run it, right? And then you can take it back to him and show him, like, hey, listen, because I've had patients do this, right, where they get their testosterone from a urologist or a doctor writes it. And obviously, I'm not going to be like, no, don't get the testosterone covered by insurance. Come to Titan and we'll take care of it. If you can get your testosterone covered by your doctor, and at that point, you're missing the missing components of an anti-estrogen, an estrogen blocker, or gonadal support like the clomiphene, then we will supply those other components. So if you're getting testosterone covered, great. Have your insurance covered all day if you can get it. And if you need the other things, that's what we're here for. And we can blood test too to make sure that we're dialed in on the numbers too as well.
It's great that it seems like that's a good doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, listen, there's enough research and data now, right? And trials that we know that testosterone is safe, especially if we're not overdosing testosterone, right?
But this guy's 42. Just imagine that. 42. So he's a pup. And to be at 280 at that state, like that real man strength age and stuff, and to be living at a 280, depending on his energy and everything. Yeah.
You'll be good now. You'll definitely be good.
See, but this
is a 22-year-old is 400 tests low. Yes. You know what? We did a great topic last Friday, and I got to give credit to Drew for this one because he pulled the topic. He pulled the average testosterone level from every country. Every country.
Yeah. Wow.
And it showed the average for every country.
U.S. is the lowest.
No, actually, we're not. Brazil is lower than us, and if you can believe that, with all those big butts out there, Brazil, they're like in the 300s. So,
They
like,
get all the
United
sun in
States
the
was like
world. That's
434 as an average, and these are natural people, obviously, because if we went by HRT, I think we would kill it. But at that point, United States was like a 434. Canada was a 404. That's why they're going to become the 51st state. And then, sorry, not in there. You know what was pretty high was Croatia, natural in the 700s. That's what their guys. I mean, so, and there was this other Uzbekistan or something like that was the highest. And it's just crazy. All Eastern, most of those guys were higher. When you got into the Western Hemisphere, all those guys were lower. And then when you got to like South America and stuff like that, those guys were a little bit lower than us too, some parts.
Wow, that's
so for a 22-year-old, you need to call a Text Titan Medical Center. Because at that point, like, we can help you get up with like enclomiphene, like try to naturally ignite your luteinizing hormone and your follicle stimulating hormone, your FSH and LH, to try to get it working. So you're at least at a 600 or 700 naturally, but with enclomiphene, you'll probably go up to a 700 or 800.
Nice, Johnny. What do we got going on? Because I know that you have some new peptides.
Yeah.
Talk to us.
Yeah, so the biggest, baddest GLP-1 has dropped. Retatrutide. Retatrutide is another GLP-1. It's in the GLP-1 family, but it differs from the predecessors of tirzepatide and semaglutide. Semaglutide has one active ingredient, right? One receptor that's working. Tirzepatide has two. Retatrutide has three. Best thing about retatrutide is, I mean, on all the trials that they've ran, it's been 100% all the way through and through of people losing weight. Retatrutide is more geared towards weight loss, where tirzepatide and semaglutide were more geared towards controlling blood sugars, glucose. Retatrutide still does that, but at that point is faster and more effective than tirzepatide in almost half the time in the weight loss effect, with no nausea like the other ones. So this is truly a game changer. It's going to replace tirzepatide and semaglutide because it's going to be way more effective and faster. And if it has less nausea or no nausea, it's going to be a game changer all the way around. So retatrutide is the new one, just dropped this week, therapy of the week. So at that point, we're taking, patients on it. So at that point, a ton of people are getting on it. So when we release the newsletter Monday, it's always the therapy of the week, and usually the phones are just slammed with whatever it is. This one is double that. Let's put it that way. That's how big of a game changer this one's going to be.
Who's this best for? Who needs this? Because there's a couple aspects there, right?
This is somebody that's obese or overweight that needs this. Will people use this if they need to lose 10 pounds? Yes. You'll see people that do it. Just like Avril Lavigne, right? She was talking about how she got osteoporosis from using Ozempic. Well, she probably didn't need to lose no weight. She just wanted to be skinny, and that's why she was taking it. I think that there's other things that we have in our arsenal before dropping the nuclear bomb on you, if it's only 10 pounds or 5 pounds. But I think when we start getting over 20 and 30 pounds, this is going to be somebody that it's optimal for. It's going to be somebody that, we can help them curb their appetite, lose weight in a healthier way. And at that point, I think it'll be effective, for those patients. Like I said, there's going to be people that 5 or 10 pounds that want to use it, but the more people that need it are going to be the people that have a lot more weight to lose. What's the difference between tesamorelin and sermorelin? Great question, guys. You guys are firing today. I love it. All right, so sermorelin is like a dinosaur. Sermorelin was made back in the day, and sermorelin was going to replace growth hormone. It was going to be more safety effective, and it was going to be able to work almost just as good. It was going to stimulate your own growth hormone, and you were going to be able to not have to take growth hormone if you had growth hormone deficiencies or dwarfism or any of those different things, right? Sermorelin works for about 3 to 6 months. After 6 months, you really don't get the effect, right? And it bumps IGF-1, but nothing crazy. And at that point, like I said, the sleep effects you feel from it, or anything that you would really get beneficial wise from Semerolin after 6 months, you really don't see. Testosterone. Testosterone is the biggest bad boy on the block. It is. It really is. It is FDA approved. And at that point, what's it going to do? It's going to stimulate IGF-1. It's going to stimulate IGF-1 a hell of a lot longer, a hell of a lot more than Semerolin does. The other effect that separates from all the other GHRHs out there, testosterone goes after visceral adipose tissue, so belly fat that's surrounding your vital organs. This is that stomach lining that you really want to get rid of. So testosterone is the creme de la creme. Semerolin, to me, is going to be your bottom basement, right? After Semerolin, I would go with CJC with ipamorelin, and then I would go with hexarelin, and then I would go with testosterone. That would be the order of, this guy's the, I don't want to say the worst, but this guy's the lowest in the totem pole, and this guy's the highest in the totem pole.
Would it be smart for somebody that hasn't done this, start with some the dinosaur, I guess you would say it, or go right to testosterone?
So they could go after the testosterone. It really doesn't matter where they start. I don't think it really matters if the person's just starting or not. If they were like, oh, well, I don't want to, the biggest thing, the difference between testosterone and all the rest of them would be the price point. The price point's a lot higher in testosterone. It's just a lot more expensive. It is what it is. But, if they were like more on a financial budget, what I would recommend is, or I would say, I would be like CJC with IPA. CJC with IPA is the upgrade to Semerolin. It consistently works. You have two different peptides that are working synergistically together, which is awesome. And the half-life. So the half-life of CJC is a lot longer than Semerolin. That's why it works a lot better. What is your opinion on using nandrolone as an addition to HRT for someone with injuries? Example, 100 milligrams to 200 milligrams. So listen, guys, I think this is a great method. I really do. Nandrolone, we were so against for so many years, the providers and everything like that. And the real reason I think the providers were really against it was because everybody that wanted at that point in time wanted to get big, right? They want to use nandrolone for purposes that we're not going to be able to prescribe it for. But, as we went along, obviously, I think that if somebody does use nandrolone properly with a therapeutic dose, then I think that it could be very effective in helping alleviate some injuries to a certain extent. It's not going to heal injuries, but like if you have shoulder problems, yes, it's going to create a more lubrication in the shoulder. It's going to mask it for a little bit. It will help you get through some of the pain. So yes, we are prescribing it for some patients depending on what's going on joint pain wise.
Now,
that's the only way to use it. 50 milligrams or 100 milligrams, I wouldn't go 1-to-1, or I wouldn't go any other higher, because that NOR19 is going to. So I don't know if nandrolone does that. Nandrolone is going to make you like that. NOR19, definitely.
don't want that.
And they call it Deca.
I've heard that.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You can
Get
tell
up,
Kelly that one.
Yeah.
When to decrease calories intake during fat loss? Well, you decrease them over time, right? You start going down a little bit. I don't think you should go too far down, but you start going to a calorie deficit for fat loss.
Yeah, you just listening to your body. You're staying ahead of it, plateauing.
Yeah,
that's what you're doing. That's why the study of it's not a certain time. Could for one person be within a week, and another person could be 5 weeks. It's an amazing thing how the body works.
A lot of this is about staying ahead of the body.
Most of it's about staying ahead of the body. And here's the unfortunate part. They don't think that way when it comes to TRT or peptides. They think, or blood work. Yeah, they think that is when the issue arises, then I'll do it. When it's there. And it's like, well, now you have to fix something instead of staying ahead of it and making sure it keeps working.
Right.
How do you say that to somebody that's, and I get it. I was 20 and 30 and I thought I could wrestle a bear. So I fully understand the concept that you feel invincible, but being smart, like this 22-year-old kid, good for him to find out. And at 22, that
Yeah.
maybe he did something before that's triggered it now. It's why it's so low.
Right.
So
Yeah.
again, go.
I mean, no, I think it's awesome to be preventative, and that's why I always like preach preventative health. Like, what do we do here at Time Medical Center? Preventative health, right? Because the whole point would be it's easier to maintain than to fix. And Western medicine has everybody trained that we don't fix until it's broke, right? But we maintenance other things. We maintenance our cars, we maintenance our house, we maintenance our boats. Everything gets maintenance except for you. And a lot of people, especially a lot of doers like us, we put ourselves last sometimes, and we put everybody up before us. And there's a lot of people out there that do that. But I tell them, like, if you put yourself so far behind, when you break down, all those people that you're propping up, they're going to break down too, because they ain't going to have you. So the whole point would be to make sure you're good, to make sure they're good, right? That makes sense. It makes total sense. Like, if you can't protect, then you are the protector because you're down and out. So at that point, you want to make sure you're the strong protector. You're doing everything you possibly can to be the best you possibly can. Because, I mean, it'll shine in so many different ways. So, I think that's the way that people need to start looking at things. And hopefully they're going to start looking at things like that. But I just don't think so. I like the GLP-1s, but not to knock GLP-1s, but it's making people even more lazier to get out of a healthy lifestyle. I talked to a couple patients today, right? And one of the staff members. And they're like, hey, like, if I take the retatrutide, am I going to get the Ozempic face? And the Ozempic face is basically people lose a lot of weight and their face shrinks in, they get the death face, and that's what it is. But they'll get like Ozempic butt or whatever it is, and that means like basically like
What?
their ass is flabby, right?
You
And
get
what I
the
told the
skinny fat?
the skinny fat, right? Because they're not working out. They're going to a calorie deficit, right? Their muscles, whatever they have, is gone. So at that point, it's just drooping. So you're skinny fat. Now, I told one of my employees, because she's like, I'm going to start taking, because she asked me about this because a patient asked, I'm like, tell them to get on GHK and start training a little bit. I think they'll be fine. And at that point, she came to me afterwards. She's like, I'm going to get on some GHK. I'm like, why? Because she's been on a GLP-1 and she's losing weight and she's got like some loose skin around her stomach. And then she was talking about, her back and stuff like that. I'm like, are you training? And she's like, no, because I'd actually have to go to the gym to do that. I'm like, that's your problem. That's your problem. I was like, if you built muscle to fill in those spots, you'd be a lot better off. And you can essentially do that. You can recomp your body to a certain extent using a GLP-1. I mean, I've got some patients that are, they're not bodybuilders, but they live the lifestyle and they've got a lot of money. And they did it. They tried it. They were like, listen, let me just do a microdose of this and just see if I can just lean up and get rid of this. I'm like, okay. I was like, go ahead and try it. And man, they look phenomenal. I ain't going to lie, but they're not using it like they should, or they don't really need it, if that makes any sense. But
this scares me.
Recomp, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a love-hate relationship. I love that it works for so many different people that really need it. I hate it because it's making people even lazier and not want to live a lifestyle. Because the whole time I've ever preached to Titan, you hear me every time. Food, sleep, right? Doing the right things. And at that point, changing your lifestyle. And these therapies will expedite results or help you feel better doing it. But now it's like, hey, I can just take this shot every week and I don't got to do shit. And I'm like, I mean, I'm not going to lie about, you're not going to lose weight because you're going to lose weight either way. But I'm like, is it going to be the body you really want? Right? And some people like, I just want to lose weight. I don't care if I'm skinny fat. I don't want to weigh 280 pounds. I don't know. It's just, it's kind of crazy how it is. Like I said, it's a love-hate relationship with that.
I'd hate to see a legit athlete starting to take it just to get in that better shape. Extra,
I mean, listen, it does makes your insulin like perfect as far as releasing. I mean, there's good things with it that I think performance enhancing is there, but somebody that doesn't need it, I don't think that they really should need it. I guess, if that makes any sense.
So before we keep going here, one of the earlier questions was staying ahead of the game, right? We got to stay ahead of the game. And that's why I kind of say, well, maybe you don't need any peptides right now. Great. Or TRT right now. Great. You should have blood work. But it's interesting mindset that if somebody sees a rarity, it gives them hope, which is great. And I love this idea. Stay with me on this. And when you see somebody like Robbie Robinson, that gives you hope. It's like,
Dang.
so you got a guy that's almost 80 and looks like that, which is better than 20-year-olds. Even guys that train in their 20s and 30s don't look that good. But they go, great, I have 40 more years of lifting. I can do this I can look good into my 80s. And so the whole aspect of their mindset was, wait a minute, you mean because he's training at almost 80 and looks that way, you can do that without the effort, all the glory, no blood? I don't understand the mindset there.
Yeah, no. It's instant gratification. That's what it's about. Get it to me fast. Get it to me now.
But
the hard work is out the door.
I don't see the bridge between get it to me fast. He's done something consistent through his life, and that's why he's able to do it here. If somebody is out there and they're like, well, I can in time do that, it's not going to get easier. It gets harder and harder and harder. And so I think that's the point that John is showing you and I'm showing you, that get the blood work done. Start the preventative, because there's going to be a time where it's not preventative anymore. And then at that point, you still have to go forward. Just because now you're hitting the injuries and you're hitting the owies and you're not recovering, you're still going to have to get in there and train and keep moving. So Johnny's helping you get there in a much better process and giving you a better physique as you're doing this, and a healthier physique as you're doing this.
Absolutely. Longevity, that's key. All right. Eli said, I see now they have the Wolverine in spray form. Is it effective as taking an injectable? So, obviously not, right? We know that intravenous, which is like an IV, is the best way to get anything into the blood system because it goes right in the bloodstream. Injectable is going to go in the muscle, right? And at that point, it's going to get into the bloodstream. That's going to be a lot faster and way more effective than some spray. And at that point, is it a topical spray or a nasal spray? Because I've seen it in both. Topical, I would say, maybe you're hitting some areas. It might help maybe a little bit, but probably not nowhere near as an injection. The only other way that I would say an oral form would be if it was a stomach issue, an ulcer, or something of that matter, then that would be okay. But injectable is going to be your top way to use BPC 157 or TB 500. The sprays and all the other stuff, I mean, I wouldn't use it. I don't think it's effective at all. I've tried some of the different things, and I've got no effect from it. I don't like shooting things at my nose anyway, so. All right. Aminos are the way up my intake and feel better and stronger than I ever have in a while. Well, amino acids are key things in our body and run so many different things, right? I mean, just think of peptides and sequences of amino acids. I mean, it's key. Aminos are so important. Everything, and vitamins, aminos, like they all play pivotal parts in our body and the functions that what happens. So, yeah, I definitely think that if you're there and you've got everything optimal, then you're in good shape.
I like that they went that way this time. I like that because most people don't go that way with amino acids. And if you stay away from what everybody else says and you actually just really moderate yourself on aminos, I love them. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Aminos are great. I'm 30 years old, ex-college football player, and has continued to train hard. But I've been caught in the place of setting the bar high as I age and not adding too much wear and tear. Any advice? Well, 30 years old, man, you're still pretty young. I mean, how, as far as setting the bar high, I mean, too much wear and tear. I mean, that would be waist, but you still build your body. I mean, at that point, especially at 30 years old, especially if you're an ex-college football player, so you know the conditioning function, you know how to train. I mean, it's just a little bit of different training, I guess, that you're going to be used to.
What does he mean by he's been caught in the place of setting the bar high?
Yeah.
Not adding too much wear and tear. So, yeah, listen to your body. Obviously, you played college ball, so you don't need to technically train like that anymore, right? And you got the idea, which is longevity.
I think that's what he means by setting the bar high. Because he did play college.
Yeah, because he did play college ball. I got you. So you're an athlete, and so you know that number one thing is stay an athlete. Don't become a bodybuilder or don't become a power lifter. Be an athlete first and foremost. So range of motion, flexibility, speed, strength, all those kind of aspects. And then just don't do crazy 20-year-old workouts anymore. Get in there, hit it hard, be intelligent. Lee Haney said it the best. Be stimulate, don't annihilate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where college football, wrestling and stuff, it's like we annihilate. But we have to go and see what our mental limit is. And that's why we train like that. And then I like that you played college ball. Keep that level. You know what I mean? Keep that level that you did, kid. You're 30. You haven't even hit your man strength. And that's in another 10, 15 years. So I'm proud of you. I'm proud that you keep that bar high. And I wish more people would do that. He's not the guy going, hey, I was strong then. He's like, no, I'm going to stay this way and stay at a level. I like that.
That's
nice
a mindset,
job,
man. Hey, Mike, I'm 15 and have been lifting for a year or two. I put on muscle, but also fat, but I'm worried about stunning my growth with a cut now. Dude, you're 15 years old.
I gotcha. Yeah. I got you.
You're 15 years old. I would, at that point, at 15 years old, I would worry about eating food, good, clean food, and training hard. You're talking about cutting at 15 years old? I don't think cutting at 15 years old is a good thing. I don't think, unless you're like, listen, if you got a lot of fat on you, that's one thing, right? You want to lose some of the weight, but, if you're training, you put on some muscle and you're fat, I mean, how much fat you got on you? How much you weigh at 15 and how tall are you? That would give me a great, a vision of what it is.
That is nice. Also, if you're 15, so there's a good chance you're right in that prime puberty stage. Mm-hmm. And if you are, I would wait until you're done with that explosion of size and height. And then remember, if you're going to diet, you're doing it for 10 weeks. 10 weeks, 12 to the most.
That seems so short.
5'10", 160.
Seems short, yeah. How tall?
5'10", 160.
Yeah, no, do not cut.
That's what I'm saying.
Do not cut.
Definitely not.
You don't need that.
Definitely not.
First of all, you're going to gain, everybody here, I don't know what world you live in, you're going to gain fat in a surplus and muscle. You mostly at this age, do not stress. You're going to keep growing. So there's a good chance you're 5'10" at 15. There's a good chance. And again, at 14, I was 5'9", and at 15, I was 6'2". So there's that explosion in height, and that summer where you go away and then you come back and you're a monster. So keep eating. You're 160. You're not holding much fat.
Definitely not. Yeah, look at Mike. Wow.
Yeah, that's 13. So keep eating, kid. You're gonna fill that out. And I saw so many. Here's the two aspects. I played football and wrestled, and so I saw the two aspects of what happened during puberty. First and foremost, with elite athletes, is that those wrestlers, because they would stay in that deficit all year, compared to the football players, we were trying to put it on. And I was already a heavyweight by the time I was 15, so I didn't have to worry about cutting. And I'm so glad looking back that I didn't. But you're gaining so much right now, and kid, you're 160. there's no possible way that you're carrying too much fat. Do not think that you need to be right now a fitness cover model.
Right.
Get that out of your mind right now. You're 15. You got so much
You're
life.
growing, man.
Yeah. Get your height. Get your
yeah.
Good question.
Keep eating,
Good,
keep
good,
training.
good, John.
Keep eating, keep
John,
training.
I'm glad you asked. The height and the
for
weight.
Sure. Because height, weight, I mean, it's going to tell you a lot, majority, especially that, you know. I mean, I could look at Peter. I think Peter's only 160 pounds, and he's 6'3", and he's a string bean. So at that point, like, he will be over.
He's going to be 6'4", 6'5".
Dude, I hope so.
You wiggled your toes on that one. Holy sheesh, kid.
For real. Did good. Did good.
It's a monster. I love it.
He says, hey, Mike, I got a shoulder injury hitting shoulders the other day. How do I continue to bench press and keep from damaging it again? Well, BBC and TB500 will help you heal that shoulder. That's what you want to do, is heal the shoulder for sure. Bench pressing, listen, if you have a hurt shoulder and you don't want to hurt it anymore, and if you're bench pressing and it hurts your shoulder while you're bench pressing, you'll probably stay away from the way you're bench pressing. You know, for sure. Like, if it's going to hurt you, you don't want to just work through like pain like that. Like, that could be damaging. Or you could be doing your form, and your form might be off a little bit. You could damage your shoulder even more. It's not worth it.
Yeah, it's you got to find an intelligence part. Would 2 weeks off right now and healing up with peptides and making yourself more bulletproof the best you can save you from not training for the next 25, 30 years?
Right.
You got to ask yourself that. Can you chill so you can enhance? I think that's one of the biggest things I would say.
I agree.
Mo wouldn't stop.
Mo wouldn't stop.
Are you talking about me?
We're just talking about you.
Look at her. Mo's like, oh. What up, Mo? Look at those guns. Oh. Yeah.
Just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm not really. I'm just saying. What do we got here? Oh my gosh, such a good live. I was watching it on Twitter actually. I've been posting for people to jump in because there's such a good Q&A for people to find out about their health and workouts and nutrition and if you're not on here, you know what you're missing. Yeah, absolutely. John, a lot of people are sick, man. What's up with this cold or virus? What's going around? Like Titan was sick too. And I tell you what, I didn't get sick. I did not get sick at all.
That's what I'm talking about. And I honestly, I don't want to jinx myself.
I do that too. Like, yeah.
I got to jinx myself.
I took that the immune system.
Yeah, the Trimune.
Yeah. So I want to say that it's that, as well on
for
top.
Sure.
It's just, the glutathione and all the other stuff that's obviously great. But you need a little boost here and there, especially on this season. Everybody's sick.
Everybody is sick everywhere. It's not just one place. It's not just, I was telling Mike when he told me about Titan being sick, I'm like, man, I haven't got the days like I used to, but before, like Peter would go, he'd go to, the little kindergarten or like the place I was watching.
It's like,
you get sick, bring it home. And that's what happens with all the parents, right? They send their kid to school. They're fine. The kid comes home coughing, snotty nose, man. He gets everybody sick in the house.
Every other week is coming home with a cold.
I know.
He's 5. So what do you know?
I know.
Can't really. I like to put him on some vitamins, but Mike is like, wait a minute. He's 5. He needs to boost his immune system himself.
It will. His immune system will build stronger, hopefully, because of it and everything like that. So that'll be a good thing. But it does suck for us parents that have to take the effect because, listen, parents have to work. And that's why a lot of sick kids go to school, because a lot of people work working paycheck to paycheck. And at that point, they got to drop the kids off for childcare because they got to go to work to pay the bills. So, I understand that part of it, but it does suck that, we didn't learn from what happened the 4 years previous about good cleaning techniques, being a little bit more aware of people being sick around you and stuff like that. I think that's went out the window and just everybody just went back to where it was. But Tri-Immune is going to be one of the best things you could take for immune system boosting. So if you're having sickness around you, family, friends, yourself. Trimune has glutathione, vitamin C, and zinc all in one injectable. The other one that I would recommend highly if you're looking to build your immune system would be thymosin alpha 1. That is a peptide for immune system building. Those are the two that are top. Glutathione, obviously, by itself is very effective too as well. So you have 3 different options that could seriously help your immune system and get you over the cold faster, or hopefully prevent you from even getting sick.
Yeah, so even if you're not, don't wait until you get a cold and then take all the stuff. You gotta take it before so you don't get sick.
You know, is one of our number one, I think, patients that get Trimune and thymosin alpha 1. It's actually medical workers, so first responders in general.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these people were going to the hospital, and a lot of them came to us during COVID. And they were like, I got to work a shift in here. I got to make sure that I'm healthy and like I don't catch this. I'm like, well, I don't know about not catching it, but I was like, we can probably keep you as healthy as possible.
Something I don't want to go down today, rabbit hole, is that they're not called vaccine. What's when your kid gets
booster?
Well, I guess it is vaccinations. I guess it is vaccinations.
So twisted on the leg.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
But we were doing research this week, and I was interviewing a couple doctors, and they were talking about it, and the level of damage it can cause to your own DNA.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold on, your DNA is such a powerful thing. I don't think you can damage your own DNA. And they're explaining this stuff, and I'm just like, I want to go deeper into this. It's freaky to me to think that they can set you up and damage your kid with all these things. And yeah, so I don't want to go in a rabbit hole, but man, it's just it hurts my heart to realize that that's the medical field that we're at this stage.
It's really scary. It really is. Listen, I think that some vaccines have a place, like maybe polio or something like that. But they're trying to add more and more vaccinations on those schedules. I've read, because RFK has obviously been against vaccinations. So, is growing up, you never really think about it. You're a kid, like, all right, I have to go to the doctor. You get shot in the arm, is or this. So, but as we get older, especially me being in the medical field and reading some of the research, because there's research out there now. Like before, I think it wasn't open to us like it is now. And at that point, seeing some of the different things like autism and all these different things that they're linking to some of these vaccinations, I think it's kind of scary. I think it definitely needs a second look for sure. And, anything can happen. We can walk outside and walk across the street, get hit by a bus and die. So I'm not going to say it's just all on these things, but we should definitely look and see what's going on. I think, obviously, some of the vaccinations were rushed to the people, and a lot of people took those vaccinations because they were scared or fear-mongered into it. And that's going to cause a lot of problems down the line. I mean, I don't know how many people have had issues from that virus or that concoction that they took. I mean, there's just a lot of data. And we're going to see in the next 5 years, we'll have all the information on the table of what really happened, what we've been injecting ourselves, and all that. I mean, kids are one thing, man, for sure. Like, we should definitely be looking after our kids and our kids' health for sure. And hopefully some change is going to happen.
The consequences to all that, because I sit there and go, well, if you got vaccinated or you got the boosters, that has nothing to do with me. It doesn't affect me. Well, if I end up at the hospital and I need blood and this person, it was the whole, it's like, wait a minute. It takes me back to when they were giving blood with AIDS and HIV. And it's, wait a minute. Oh, this hurts my heart and my brain. I don't want to. Yeah, but that's the reality of it. That's where we're at, folks.
And, the other point to what you said is damaging DNA. A lot of people, the exact same statement. I didn't think I could damage my DNA. Your DNA can definitely be damaged and definitely interrupted to a certain extent. There's different ways that you can repair or help your DNA too as well. And some of these.
Let's go into that. What kind of insight do you have on repair?
Sure, like protecting DNA and stuff like that. So when we talk about we talk about like oxidative stress, and we talk about some of these different things. And some of these different things can damage your DNA. So what can help? And we looked at a couple different things. Some things you're already taking. Glutathione is one. The other one is NAD. It works on a cellular repair level to help not have your DNA damaged. So if you're taking glutathione, you're taking NAD, you're on track, right? You're gonna be protecting yourself from a lot of different things that are out there. I'll look into some more because there's actually some more peptides that we're going to be releasing that will specifically focus on this. It's mitochondria and DNA are some of the most important things, and that's where we're going to start focusing some of those different treatments onto as well. So as they come, I will. But glutathione and NAD are going to be your way to go right now.
I love it because that's for those parents out there. We get asked a lot, nutrition and training, and especially training now is like one of the big things. But peptides and strengthening these kids so they can fight against this world that they're moving into. So your parents, I hear you. I listen, and again, feed them, raise them as warriors.
Yes.
I think Dana White's interview is probably the greatest, talking about if you could raise an old school cat nowadays, that kid's going to rule. It's going to dominate in the world.
For sure. And that's what we're raising. To reclaim.
Yeah, your boy's a savage. And I guess Mona just told me Titan's first tournament is this Saturday.
Awesome.
So we get to go see him walk out there and do the little see that in action and stuff. And
that's going to be awesome.
As a father, I just want him to go out there, have fun, do his thing, roll a little bit, see if there can trigger on some. I don't know what the word would be. A switch, just a switch to go. Okay, that was fun and games. This is something serious. Let me get the head right.
Yeah, let me turn it on.
We will see. We will see.
That's super cool.
We have to do that. Let's do a couple more questions. We got Johnny.
Yeah, there's one. The
we got
asked about the TRT. He had a follow up.
Okay.
This was the guy that went to his doctor and got.
Oh, okay, great.
Yep. Curious about side effects, hair loss, but also would I notice a difference if I actually hit the weights hard in the TRT? So hair loss. All right. So when it comes to hair loss, some people are genetically disposed to hair loss, right? Male pattern baldness in particular. And at that point, this could happen if you've had any sort of baldness on either side of the family. Either if you're male or female, it doesn't matter. If your dad, your grandpa, on either side, you're at a higher risk. If both of them had it, you're at a super higher risk, right? Naturally. This is without going on TRT or hitting the gym or whatever you want to say. It's just naturally going to happen. What can you do, right? Or curious about the side effect of it. If you go on TRT and it's unchecked, right? And let's say DHT, your dihydrotestosterone, starts going high. Well, dihydrotestosterone is the main villain of this in one way. Dihydrotestosterone is really a good thing, but if it goes too high, then that can start causing some hair loss. So you want to check DHT. You want to monitor DHT. If you want to be preventative, we have our hair health capsules. We have our foam that you can take and injectable biotin. If you take these things, you can be preventative. And at that point, you shouldn't have any negative side effects. But, it could happen. And I'm not going to say it couldn't if you don't. And you have some of these different things going against you as far as in your family history. So, it's really different. I've seen people take a massive amount of steroids and just chemical warfare and not lose one follicle of hair. I'm talking about taking DHT derivatives and stuff like that, like super high doses of oxandrolone and all these different things. I've seen some people go on testosterone and at that point start losing some hair. Was their DHT high? Yes, it was. So at that point, once we started monitoring it, got it back in check, there was no hair loss. So that's really what it is. Monitor DHT. Make sure you're not going at super high doses of testosterone. And I think that you'll be okay in most circumstances. How would you best incorporate cardio Do a day just for it and do longer or add it to the end of a workout, but for less time. I would do it afterwards if I was going to do it. I would do weights first for sure, and you definitely make sure that I'm lifting and I got all the intensity that I want to. Some people do it on off days too as well. I don't know. I'm not a big cardio guy. Mike can answer your question probably about that a lot better. But what I can say is if you want to accelerate your metabolism, at that point, that's where Mod C comes into play. We're talking about it's almost like, like almost like exercise in the bottle, enhancing your metabolism to be able to burn fat and helping to build the mass too as well. So that could definitely play a role. But I'm not a big cardio guy, but if I was going to do it, I'd do it after my weightlifting.
Yeah. I mean, again, cardio is mileage. So just make sure that you're using it for the purpose that you need to do it for. Again, anything and everything you're going to do, there's going to be a pros and cons to it. And if you're just spinning the wheels, you're still doing mileage at the end of the day. And I think that's one thing that people, they don't even assume. They think as long as I go in the gym and train, I'm good. Like I don't need technically a workout plan. I don't technically need to eat right at home. I just have to exercise. Do you ever notice that? Because I do notice that in my world that I live, that they think just the motion is good enough. That's all you have to do. Not realizing that, well, again, mileage is mileage.
Right.
You could squat for 20 years and get no benefit from it. And Arnold, I love when Arnold says it, just because it's the GOAT saying it over and over again. It goes, you go in and you're mindless and you're squatting for 20 years. Great job. You got nothing out of it.
Right.
But you got the side effects. It's negative because you just put mileage on your ligaments and joints and your hips. And now you need a new hip because you did it incorrectly or bad form this whole time and didn't recover. So, yeah.
It's true. Does Titan offer tadalafil as well? Absolutely, guys. We offer tadalafil, sildenafil. Tadalafil is the main active ingredient in Cialis. Sildenafil is the main active ingredient in Viagra. We offer a couple different combinations like PT141 with tadalafil and oxytocin all in one oral. We offer arginine and sildenafil together. If you're on testosterone with us, we offer sildenafil and micronized testosterone and one troche that goes sublingually. That one is great for people that are, trying to get it on more than one time.
I got a question. Is Cialis? I think it's Cialis more than anything else. Are they using this also to control blood pressure for some people?
So BHRP. So tadalafil
BHRP is
so it's a lowering of your blood pressure. Right. So they use it. They use tadalafil for that. And tadalafil is a vasodilator too as well. So sildenafil is the exact same way. So people are using that in the gym too as well. So they're using it for pumps too. I mean, you can get massive amount of pump from Hercules Potion along with some extra benefits with that. And you can also take tadalafil if you really wanted to. If you really want to go extreme.
Seems like it's a plus then because you get the solid wood, you get a better pump, and you lower your blood pressure.
Yep.
And you're ready to go at any time.
Yeah. There's a daily dose that they do prescribe. It's like 5 milligrams daily. They even have a 2.5, but usually it's 5 milligrams daily, and somebody can take it daily for that. So it's a little bit different than Viagra. So when you take Viagra or sildenafil, it's kind of like you think about it, a breeze by, and you have an erection, right? Tadalafil is more of like you start kissing, start touching, and then the erection happens. It's not like one of these like I said, with sildenafil, like you just be sitting there, think about something, and then you're up, right? And you don't want to do that at the gym. Be thinking about something.
Why not?
You look at some guy after. Look at some guy after.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Don't look at me with that.
Are you hardly working or working hard? I'm hard at work.
Why would you not take it?
Why would you not take it? Yeah, it's just like takes care of everything. And you're already.
I told you though, but the ultimate libido enhancer, and I would never do this one, but we had somebody order it today. We have to order it.
So done it. You still done
Trimix.
it.
Oh, I haven't. I've never done it. I just can't. I
That's the
can't
one we
get.
joke about.
The one.
I
Jeez.
can inject. I've injected a lot of places in my body for a long time. 13 years. I've done multiple inject. I mean, shoulders, traps, pretty much everywhere. But I've never injected in my penis. And with Trimix, there's a lot of guys out there that use Trimix, and you inject that directly in the penis.
What do you
And
think?
at that
What do you think?
point,
I'm ready.
Jeff's going to try
I'm
it.
telling you,
Jeff's going to
I'm
try
never gonna try it. I want Jeff to try it. I'll give you a free round, Jeff.
it.
But we gotta line up some girl. We gotta
Send
make
it to
sure
my
that we
place.
definitely do it.
I'll make sure Jeff gets it. Don't you worry,
With that
folks.
though, if you're gonna go on the Trimix Avenue, we send out the antidote with it just in case. Because
I'll
if
send
you
that
go over 8
antidote.
hours, you're gonna be.
I'll make sure my girl has her friends ready to go. I agree with him, though. I agree with him in California.
Sure.
It's been a crazy couple weeks here.
I'm sure it's been nuts. You know, it's not going to get any better for a long time. Hey, Mike, hope you're an inspiration to me. Hero, what's the champion's mindset? At least for you.
Wait for Johnny to get clear. We're back?
I hear
We got you. Yeah, I got you.
Yes.
We just bumped into a little hiccup. What is the champion mindset? That you know that you got one go around. That's it. So how do you not get freaking absolutely psyched knowing this is it? I mean, it's as simple as that. Why not kick ass? And that's why I think Johnny and I feel bad when we see these people not living their full life, and then they get sucked into, well, here's the one food group that you need to eat, and this is going to switch your whole complete life around. And it's like, eat moderate, eat healthy.
Mike, any words of wisdom for an expecting father? I know sleeping time will be taking a hit, but anything you can offer, any general fatherhood advice?
Well, one is too late, and the one would be make sure that she is a savage. The baby mama is a savage. That would be the one thing that I would have told my young self as well, and I got lucky with this. You're going to be more motivated than anything, and yes, you're going to lose sleep, mostly if you're a helpful father. So at this stage, I would say, first off, huge congrats. And I'm the father that was the dog guy before, that when people told me, you know, kid's different, right? Shut up. It's different. And you get more motivated. You got a second level of I don't know, like I'll say ego, pride, aggression, fear, that blows you up to freaking go off. Yeah. It's not just that, just you being a failure. It's now that you got this young, whippersnapper looking at you. So, congratulations, man. You're gonna absolutely love it. But be more prepared. Prepare your meals. Do not stop the gym. Do not do the bullshit that most of these fathers do. The dad bod. Don't fall into that trap.
Yeah.
Don't.
Well, I couldn't. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't. One thing I could say as an expecting father, I would definitely talk to the mother and lay down some ground rules. And like what I did for Sharice, like when we first met, like the ground rules are, I will be going to the gym. That's one thing I asked, right? I just need an hour. Leave me alone. Let me go. Let me train for an hour. I'll be here. I'll help whatever you need. I'm working full time. So I remember exactly when I had Peter. And that was one stipulation. I was like, listen, I got to be able to train because that's the only thing that's going to keep me emotionally stable, physically stable in the whole night. So that was one thing. But, after that, like, you really don't know what you're going to get. You might get a baby that sleeps really good at night, doesn't wake up every hour on the dime, and you're not getting up every hour on the dime to milk them. Your baby mama might wake up every single time and do everything herself. You never know how that's going to work out. But I'd be supportive of the mother of your child. You know, try to help out as much as possible. You know, play a strong role in that, because you know it is when you first see your kid, right? That's immediate. That was immediate for me. It was an immediate bonding effect. And at that point, like for me, it was like, all right, I need to really, like, I was really motivated before, but I really need to get out there now. Now I'm responsible not only for me and Charisse, but I'm responsible for my son too now. Awesome. And I always want to give him the best. I always want to do better than what my dad did for me. So at that point, that was the goal. Be better all the way around than my dad was for me. And, you know, that was it. I mean, but you're really not going to know until it hits. And then I would say adapt your routine around whatever you lock in. Like if she's watching during the day and you're watching, just find your gym time, find your time where you can do what you need to do to take care of yourself. Because like we talked about earlier, if you don't take care of yourself, eventually you won't be able to take care of your family, or maybe not the way that you want to, or protect them the way that you want to, whatever it may be. So definitely do that. But yeah, congratulations. You know, I mean, especially in these times right now when fertility rates are all-time low. God bless you.
A father's ceiling is your kid's floor. I always love that.
That's good.
And so think of that. And then Johnny's right. Now, see, Johnny, I know I got extremely freaking lucky, but I chose to be an old father. And so the maturity level was there for me to have a talk. Actually, I didn't have a talk. She said to me, if we're doing this, I'm going to ask you that you work and you work even more. You don't miss. You do your thing. I got this part handled. So I got really lucky on that aspect. I never missed a workout. Yeah. But Johnny, I'm impressed because not everybody gets to do that. You go, listen, I ain't missing the workout. I think that's an important thing for anybody that's going to have kids or be a father, to be able to talk to missus and say, hey, I need to stay. And I think most people think, well, that's kind of selfish. No, it's the father has to stay healthy. He has to stay strong and in shape. He's going to be running. So props.
Yeah, congrats. I mean, listen, yeah, man. Would you recommend taking a rest day in between chest and shoulders? Sure. I mean, secondary muscles are coming from shoulders. So if you're sore, you're hurrying. Yeah, I mean, you probably should want to take a rest day in between. All depends, though, how you feel. If you feel really good, I mean, you could probably go and blast shoulders.
Yeah, I would do it. I would take the rest day between those. Chest is a big body part. Shoulders is a small one. I try to keep shoulders. I try to keep chest away from back, away from legs. With that nice time between, just because of nervous system. Chest away from back, away from legs. And then I'll dip in the other body parts in there. But again, yeah, it's a lot of torque on the shoulders. And you may not feel it in your 20s and 30s, and it may come play in your 40s or 50s.
Yeah.
So your
so true, guys.
Your poor form on deadlifts that you don't think are bad, they're not bad when you're 20. You're just setting yourself up when you're 50. That's bad. Johnny, do you got to go?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
We get one more for you.
Sure. Can you cut carbs completely, or do you need them to gain some muscle? I mean, you need protein to gain muscle, right? You should have some carbs, though. Cut carbs, I do want maybe a cut, but I don't do it to gain muscle. I eat carbs.
Oh, these guys, they read so much.
I think that's an unfortunate thing about TikTok and Instagram.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
You need your. I just want to cut them completely. Live carb free.
You need your carbs. If you want, Johnny's a solid rock of a man. He's got his muscle. We can play.
Yeah.
I could fast and keep my muscle. For you to develop it, you need carbs, guys.
You need carbs.
Holy cow! You guys are listening to these people they look like Greek statues, and they're going, "I'm carb free." Oh, that's how I'll do it then. Even go back to Rez when he was getting size with these other guys that walk around at 5% all the time. They had carbs in their early careers. They ate. They took in a good amount of calorie intake. Don't run away from that. There's going to be a time that, unfortunately, you're going to have to remove them. You know, and you're going to have to lose them because of age and what your body's doing. Don't do it if you're young. It sounds like you haven't trained yet, really, and put on a lot of muscle. So that's such an unfortunate. They have to swim through all this idiotic information, and they won't do it by looking visually at the person. No, they'll just take what's in front of them and go, "This is it's Jay Cutler did this bicep workout for the Olympia." Who cares?
And now they're going to swim.
Who cares? They're going to. That's the best arm workout. No, go back to Jay Cutler at 17 and what was he doing? How did he develop this clay mass? That's the workout you should be asking for you. And none of you guys are doing that. You don't dissect and go back to the beginning.
Starting point. Yeah.
You look at Robert Robinson eats chicken and broccoli. Ha. You eat, well, then I'll just eat chicken and broccoli. He's 78 and he's been training for 65 years.
Right.
It's like
you got some homework to do.
You got a little homework. All the glory, no blood.
That's the poor part of it, though. It really is. Like, you see it. Like, people don't want to work for things. They don't have the work ethic to do it. They don't want to invest the effort. It's a sad thing. But there are a small amount of people that still do. And those people are going to clean up like we've been talking about. They're going to clean up. They're going to clean up. So eventually, I mean, they said eventually we'll be on a universal pay program. Okay. I was talking to some of my higher ups. So universal pay program is this. It's going to get to the point, and I've talked to some of my buddies, and I couldn't believe he was even telling me this. And they're like super high up in AI, right? Super high up. These guys are fucking mad rich. And they're like, listen, like what's going to happen is AI is going to take over and do all these jobs. And there's going to be no use for any money because these jobs are all going to get done by robots. So we're going to be on a universal pay program where people just get money and that's it. And they stay home and that's it. And there's nothing to spend the money on because the robots are doing everything and AI is doing everything. Elon Musk talked about this briefly and it's out there. It's just kind of crazy how it's going, but that's where they're going with it.
Do you recommend it?
How frequently do you recommend donating blood on TRT? Just based on HNH or in set intervals like every 6 months? So it could be dependent on the person. There's some people out there that, you know, their HNH, the hemoglobin hematocrit, and the red blood cell count goes high and it converts and it goes high 2 or 3 times a year. And at that point, they need to donate. What would be the best standardized? Every 6 months is usually a good time to donate blood.
That's great information for these people.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that you might not need to go beforehand. That's why you monitor. And if you're getting side effects like fatigue or headaches, at that point, you want to check your H&H. All right. This one says, Mike, you're 56 now, but why do you work like this? Like it's still day one. For you, like you don't have a solid legacy already. Keep it up. That's great.
I appreciate that, but I don't have that mindset. It's always day one. It's a white belt mentality.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what I did yesterday. Only matters what I do. And then back to the father that was on here earlier. It's like I'm lucky that I have this. I don't know what a partner to travel through that's 5 years old right now. And I want to be like my father was to me, someone to look up to, be a role model and still tussling and show this kid what's feasible. So I'll keep doing day one. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that.
That's awesome. It's true too.
It's always day one. One more for Big Johnny. I held him up for an hour and a half. Sorry.
I'm good.
I'm going to go here because I think there's some great things over at Titan Medical. I think this stuff, there's some great things at
Sure.
Titan Medical.
What's the secret of your not looking old from India? So there's a couple different things. One, we want to make sure everything on the inside is working perfectly, right? We want to make sure it's working optimally. This will reflect on the outside of the body too, the way the skin looks, the way the body's performing, right? The also thing would be our skincare. We have our Aphrodite serum, which is great for the face, NADs, GHKCU, and some other things like vitamin C and some other different things. This is good for for wrinkles or anything like that as far as for the face. I think that obviously hormones are going to play a big part in this, and then obviously like growth hormone releasing hormone peptides will be a big part of anti-aging for some of these guys too as well. But that's how you do it, and being active and eating correctly, like that's the other part of it. You can train all you want, you can take all these therapies all you want. If you like garbage and you're drinking all the time or smoking, it's going to reflect on your body. So I would say taking care of yourself to the best possible way that you can in all these different shapes and forms.
Cortisol, keep that bad boy down. That's going to help, right? You're going to see that in the blood work. Not overtraining, that's going to help, right? And then, like Johnny said, there's a plethora of things over there to kind of help you, because you don't want to just visually be youthful. Trust me, it's going to be, you want to be healthy and joints and ligaments healthy as well. And again, muscles secondary. And yeah, that's my 2 cents. Johnny, thank you, brother.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much. That was a blast. I'll talk to you later, bro.
Bye, buddy.
See ya.